Hello, friends. It's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another weekly check-in reading for the week of, I think today is January 26th. So it's Sunday, January 26th through, we'll say February 1st, and which would be Saturday. I'm going to say February 1st of February, but yeah, we get it. I hope everyone's doing as well as they can. It's been a very interesting week, I guess. I'm trying to remain positive and not get too distracted by the external noise going on, which is hard, but just know that I'm sending you so much love. I hope that, you're doing things to take care of yourself and you're prioritizing what you need versus what you think should be happening. And the only way we can kind of get through certain things is to focus on what we can do for ourselves, what we can do for our communities, how we can show up for one another, and being our authentic selves in all of the noise and chaos that's going on outside of who we are. So, all right, let's see. So for this week, let's see what we need to know. We have the Princess of Cups reversed. And then we have what we need to do. So here we have the Six of Inspiration reverse. And then what do we need to release? We have the Eight of Pentacles upright. And then what do we need to contemplate? We have the Five of Cups. All right. So it is actually officially Aquarius season finally. So here we are. I'm going to pull one of these moon messages cards because we do have a full moon, or actually a new moon, I believe. So we have the domicile moon, which is abundance. I'll move these up a little bit so you guys can see all the cards. And then I wanted to pull a card from this Resurrection Oracle as well for some extra guidance. So we have the Lament. Okay, so let's get into what this week's reading wants us to focus on and what we need to kind of like pay attention to. So the Princess of Cups is essentially the Knight of Cups, I believe, in this deck. It's actually, no, this is the Page of Cups, Page of Cups. So I think with this being reversed, and what we need to know is that maybe right now may feel like not the best time for us to be more creative. Our intuition may feel a little bit stilted. We may feel a little bit disconnected from ourselves and how we're feeling. So there may be a lot of things that we feel like we're having to repress. Maybe we feel like there's a lot of stuff that we're having to kind of hold back on. And I think with the Princess of Cups or the Page of Cups reversed here is that maybe we are seeing a sense of like disconnect and discontent. I wanted to say both of those at the same time. So I think right now the biggest issue is that we need to know that it's okay for us to kind of feel like things are not really looking how we thought they were going to. I think a lot of us try to kind of rush into making a lot of different changes and trying to establish something in the dead of winter. And I just think that it makes it challenging because there's all this expectation, there's all this like frustration that kind of comes with it. And we have to kind of understand that it's better for us to kind of honor whatever it is that we have going on versus trying to push towards some sense of growth. And the pages are kind of like, they're the next phase, but there's also this sense of like being a little bit naive, a little bit not experienced enough in order to kind of like get things really going. So right now we may be seeing a little bit of this sense of like things are not really moving in the direction that we thought they were going to. And so there is a little bit of this sense of feeling like there's some disconnect, there's some sort of like lack of experience, there's a lack of, being able to really like tune into what comes next and what we should be focused on. So I think with the Princess of Cups here reversed, we're kind of getting a sense of we want to get out there, we want to do something different, but it's just not really coming together the way that we want it to. And so maybe it's an opportunity for us to kind of like take a step back and just really enjoy what we can, and not put so much pressure to have it all figured out or to feel like we have to know what this is going to look like moving forward. So it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And I think that's what they want us to know this week, is that we're meant to kind of process what we have going on versus like getting out there and doing something. Now, for what we need to we have the Six of Inspiration or the Six of Wands reverse. So this may not be the best time for us to feel like we can celebrate, to be victorious, to feel like we need to be seeing like other people recognizing what we've accomplished or what we've been doing. And so right now there may be a sense of, I can't really share what I've overcome. I can't really like show up in these ways. So I think that this is almost saying like, even though there may be some milestones that we should be celebrating at this time, maybe there is a sense of there's not a lot of support and there's maybe not a lot of like a reason. And I think that's fair. I think a lot of us are kind of still struggling with some of the shifts and the changes that we've experienced. And so a lot of us are kind of trying to figure out like what comes next. I know for me and myself, I feel like this year I want to kind of hold it a little bit closer to the vest. I don't really want to sit here and kind of share and say and this and that and kind of pour so much of myself into getting other people to see what I'm doing, if that makes sense. And I think that's kind of the energy this week as well, is that maybe we feel like a lot of our wins, a lot of the things that we want to celebrate are going to be a little bit more internalized versus like external recognition and an external way of kind of sharing what we've done, what we've overcome, and what we're experiencing. So I think with the Six of Wands reversed, we're kind of given this like sense of kind of feeling like maybe we ourselves have to kind of recognize what we've done, what we need to celebrate, what we've completed, and also how we can kind of feel victorious and successful without having the accolades that maybe go along with it. And as far as like what we need to do is that maybe right now it just feels like we're having to kind of hold back in some ways. Like we're having to kind of, again, kind of be a little bit more private, be a little bit more closed off. That's kind of the energy I have been feeling with everything. I feel like it's very hard for me to want to share exactly what I've been doing and how I've been showing up in different ways. It's more of like, what am I doing day to day that maybe other people won't always see, but that still makes an impact in my life. And I think with this is kind of saying like, okay, let's focus on who we are, what we want, what we're doing versus how it looks to everybody else and how other people will receive that energy. Now, what we need to release is the Eight of Pentacles. And this is really saying like maybe we've been too stuck on our efforts. We're too stuck on the perfectionism. We're too stuck on honing our zone of genius, basically, and trying to be too like, I have to have it right. I have to have it figured out. I have to have it mastered in some way. And while that is something that is honorable and that's something that is like fantastic, and as someone who is a little bit of a perfectionist herself, I know how challenging it can be to kind of say like, you know what, this is what I can do and this is perfect for now. It doesn't always have to be perfect. It's not always going to be perfect. So I think with the Eight of Pentacles here, what we need to release is this expectation that maybe what we've been working towards isn't really going to pan out the way that we thought it was going to, or maybe there's a lot of things that we may feel like, oh man, I've put so much effort into this thing, or I've been like working so hard towards this goal, or I've been working so hard towards this, blah, 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 blah. And now I've come to the realization that it's not really going to come together the way that I thought it was going to, or I have come to the realization that maybe it's just not going to work out as I had anticipated. So I think with this, it's almost saying like maybe we have to let go of that sense of, this is what I've been working towards, so this is what I need to keep moving towards, and this is what I need to keep putting so much of myself into. So maybe this week we'll have a realization that, just because we've been working really hard at something, it doesn't always necessarily mean that that will be what we need to continue to do, if that makes sense. Like maybe we will be pivoting certain aspirations and goals. Maybe we'll be kind of recentering on where our energy has really truly gone in certain ways. So I think that this week is maybe asking us to reflect on, where have we been putting a lot of pressure on ourselves? Where have we been feeling like this is where all of our effort goes, to kind of keep up a certain level of expectation. Maybe there's certain things that for months or years we've been putting a lot of effort into, and we've come to the realization that it's not really anything that's actually making me happy. While I think that the Eight of Pentacles is a wonderful card in the sense of showing you a direction, showing you like a sense of, hey, this is like what you should be focusing on, this is your efforts kind of coming to fruition. I think with this talking about what we need to release is that maybe we have been putting so much pressure on ourselves in different ways that it's, we don't really check in and say, am I actually happy doing this? Am I actually enjoying what I'm doing? Like, what am I working so hard for if it's not actually fulfilling me in some way? Whether that is like the financial aspect that kind of plays into this, whether that is the actual work that you're doing, or whether that is like just you realizing and recognizing where you've been kind of holding back in some ways. All right, and finally, we have what we need to contemplate. We have the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups here is almost saying like there's some sort of emotional loss. There's something that we need to process when it comes to the things that maybe we no longer have access to, the things that have just kind of drifted away from us, whether that is the emotional elements that kind of come into play, because fives can typically talk about loss, challenge, changes, obstacles, things of that nature. And I think that this is also a reflection of understanding that not everything that we've overcome is going to really work out the way that we want it to. So we're kind of given an opportunity here to either reflect on some of the things that maybe haven't really come together the way that we had anticipated. The big thing with the Five of Cups is that, yes, it's that emotional loss, but it's also recognizing and seeing what's still there. What else is being offered to us here? What is essentially our foundation with whatever it is that maybe we've poured ourselves into? So while there may be a lot of losses, I think that there is maybe an opportunity to see something here a little bit more clearly, because some things have been removed. And right now it may feel like, what do I have if what I've been working towards is not really panning out the way that I thought I was going to, or if other people don't really see the progress that I thought I would be making in this direction, especially when it comes to some of my creative or more intuitive, emotional kind of things. So right now it may feel kind of like, this little like boat, like it's like something's kind of getting away from us. And I think with this, it's especially talking about like what we need to contemplate is like, what else is being presented to us here? What else is being made available at this point in time? Like, what else is there to really pay attention to in this kind of like loss, and in these things that maybe we have not really seen, like what else is being offered to us at this opportunity. So there is a little bit of this sense of like having to say, yeah, okay, that didn't really pan out the way that I thought it was going to, but there is something else here that will be presented to you that maybe is kind of saying like, this is maybe not what you had anticipated or expected, but it will be something that will still be good for you. So again, it may feel like a very kind of like emotional week. It may feel like maybe we're at odds with the different aspects of ourselves, the different things that are kind of going on. It's interesting to just kind of see like, you know, these two reverse cards, and then also kind of this sense of like, what are we actually doing? What are we working towards? What does this really mean for us in so many different ways? Now, since we do have a new moon this week, the new moon in Aquarius, I think it's going to be on the 29th, I believe. And this is talking about the domicile moon or abundance. So right now we may be really focused on, what does this mean for me? Like, what is abundance to me? Whether that's abundance of health, abundance of time, abundance of financial, like, you know, support, whether it's abundance of relationships and connections, and essentially just support in so many different ways. So I think that while we've been feeling like this month has started very slow, and, you know, I'm sure everyone's seen like the little memes of like January, like you feel all 31 days of it, right? It just feels like it goes by so slow. I think that abundance here is kind of asking us to focus on, where do we feel this? How can we, you know, be at home with what abundance means to us? Because abundance is something that is very different to everybody else. And I know most people kind of assign financial abundance as the most significant element of abundance, but as anyone who maybe has like gone through different aspects of life, maybe you'll be like, oh, it's nice to have an abundance of time. It's nice to have an abundance of relationship. It's nice to have an abundance of, you know, support, or, you know, health or opportunity. And so I think that this week we're going to maybe feel like there's a lot of stuff that hasn't really been going the way that we want it to, or maybe we're kind of feeling like everything's kind of coming to a head with a lot of different elements kind of playing into our, you know, psyche, into our emotions. And so we're kind of given this opportunity to say, okay, now let's focus on what we want, which is that abundance. And maybe with this like 5 of Cups, of what we need to contemplate is that maybe while something has been removed or taken away, or something has changed, maybe it is making space for us to have abundance in some other way, whether that's an abundance of opportunity, an abundance of being able to show up in different ways. And so I think that that may be also something that a lot of us are wanting to focus on, is, what does this mean for me? How can I, like, I know for myself, I'm really trying to focus a little bit more on being more present in those little pockets of abundance, whether that's abundance of time with like my family members, abundance of time with my friends, abundance of time during, you know, like today there's another snowstorm, which I love the snow. I find it so calming. I don't like driving in it, but I do love how peaceful and cozy, like it makes me just want to kind of wrap myself up and just kind of sit around and watch movies and just, you know, relax a little bit, which is something I don't often do. So I think abundance here this week is a reminder of, even if things haven't been going the way that we thought they were going to, especially having the 6 of Inspiration or the 6 of Wands kind of pointing towards abundance, that while maybe not all victories and successes will be seen by everyone around us or celebrated in the same ways that we would want them to, we can still feel that sense of abundance. We can still kind of rise up and celebrate that abundance in our own lives. And finally, we have the Lament. I live in the US, and I know for a lot of us, we're feeling a lot of turmoil. We're feeling a lot of this actually cut off on my microphone, so I don't really remember what I was talking about here, but this card is called the Lament, which really just talks about our grief, our sense of sorrow, a sense of regret. And I think a lot of people are really feeling that heaviness that kind of comes with the energy of this card. I think a lot of us are kind of confronting different elements and aspects within ourselves that maybe we hadn't really anticipated to feel. And I think that this is going to be an emotional week that maybe is requiring us to really confront what are some of our regrets, what are some of our laments that we have about the different things that we have going on in our lives, whether that is like in our current experience or whether that has more to do with like what is going on in the world at large. So I think having, you know, the Page of Cups and then also the Five of Cups, we're being shown an opportunity to look at, you know, where have we missed certain things that maybe, you know, we're ready to kind of deal with and kind of sit with once again. So I think that this energy is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, perhaps a little bit heavy. It may also feel very much like we're trying to overcome some of the grief and some of the maybe even the challenges that kind of come up with us having to say, it's time for me to let go. It's time for me to release. It's time for me to kind of move forward. And I had a lot of things to say about, you know, kind of the world at large at the current moment, especially here in the US and the climate of all of the shifts and changes that have been happening recently. But I'm not trying to make that the focus of what this reading is today. And I would like to just, you know, reiterate that there's a lot of things that maybe we need to focus on letting go, things that maybe we need to just kind of process. And whether that is like things that we're regretting, things that maybe we haven't really given ourselves an opportunity to truly experience. I think that maybe there's something here that has been blocking us being able to kind of move into the next thing and to kind of see the beautiful potential abundance around us, and for us to really truly celebrate, you know, all that we've done, all that we have overcome, all of the things that we've learned. And there may be a lot of this needing to kind of change what's going on here, needing to kind of focus on what truly matters to us as individuals and also with the world at large, and kind of, you know, using our existence to create, using our existence to do something beautiful with the things that we feel. And these hard emotions and energies to create something, to make something beautiful, that maybe this is your opportunity to kind of really show up for yourself in new ways. So I think that this week is going to feel a little bit heavy emotionally. There may be a lot of things that we're questioning, a lot of things that we're kind of reflecting on and kind of checking back into. But maybe we'll see that there's a lot of opportunity for us to kind of move through the emotional process that we're all experiencing at this time, and also being able to kind of shift that into something that becomes a healing process for us versus feeling so helpless and so stuck in whatever it is that we're going through at the current moment. So I know that's not always going to be light and fluffy energy, but I really hope you are taking some time out to kind of do something for yourself that feels a little bit more creative, something that feels a little bit more intuitive, taking some time out to kind of maybe not so much like put it out into the world, but maybe do something for yourself that is a little bit more nourishing, where you kind of celebrate your own wins on your own, where it's not about making it perfect. It's not about making it something that everyone else will see as valuable, and kind of deal with, you know, the things that are still being presented to you, even if it doesn't always look how you thought it was going to. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.